And a Fox News alert on classified Capitol Hill briefings on Iran. Senators set to hear from the president's defense and intel teams minutes from now, but the House just wrapped up that briefing. Congressman Adam Kinzinger, a Republican from Illinois who sits on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, was there, and he joins me now. Congressman, welcome to you. Tell us what you heard in the meeting. Are you satisfied with what you heard, and do you still believe the killing of Soleimani was justified?
Yeah, listen, in 10 years of being here, it was the most revealing classified brief I think we've had in a large setting like that in terms of what they revealed. What's amazing to me, actually one of my biggest annoyances is as the Democrats came up to talk about it, they just couldn't take yes or no, whatever it is, for an answer, because I think they had invested in their position on this strike before even knowing the intelligence and therefore could not be convinced. There was a lot of information revealed, obviously, which I can't talk about, but I will tell you, though, I am convinced even more than ever, and I was fully convinced that this was the right move to save American lives on an imminent basis, and they did the right thing.
And go back, if you would, for me, Congressman, for a second. You said the Democrats came up and they just couldn't take yes or no. What was their objection to what they were being told? I know you can't get into the intel, but specifically, what was their big objection?
Well, there's a couple things, like the legal authorization for the president to kill Soleimani in Iraq. It's actually very clear. It's justified by both Status of Forces Agreement, Article 2 of the Constitution, and the AUMF. They didn't want to accept that. And then actually the depth of the intel. I mean, look, there's a lot of stuff that was revealed that I thought they actually went beyond what they would have normally, and they just couldn't accept it. They still could not accept the imminence of the attack. And I'll tell you what, it's really frightening that this became political so quickly, and I hope that changes.
Yeah, and your colleague Hakeem Jeffries called this cowboy diplomacy. I want you to listen to this and then respond, if you would.
This moment of great tension and conflict in the world, in the Middle East, in Iraq, with U.S. troops and Americans in harm's way unnecessarily. Cowboy diplomacy did not work in Vietnam. Cowboy diplomacy did not work in Iraq. Cowboy diplomacy will not work in Iran.
Your thoughts on that, Congressman?
Well, whatever is happening, it's not cowboy diplomacy, and it's certainly better than the surrender diplomacy we've seen from the last administration, that really we'd already be almost out of this Iran deal. We'd be halfway through it. This is an administration that's standing up to defend the American people. I was critical when the president didn't respond to the drone strike and the Saudi strike, but he made it clear what his red line was, and he enforced it. And he enforced it not against 100 soldiers, but against the man that did it. And so this was the right move. And if you walk out of that briefing, if you want to withdraw the troops from all over, it's a legitimate position. But if you walk in there saying you're unconvinced of the necessity of this, then I think you were unwilling to listen.
And you bring up a good point, Congressman, because when you disagreed with the president for not going after Iran for that drone strike, and I want to put this on the screen, you said this, and I'm quoting here, the Iranian regime took a diplomatic issue over sanctions and nuclear arsenal and responded with military actions. They felt the pressures and lashed out, and it's time the United States show Iran that their dangerous games will not be tolerated any longer. And the question now becomes, did that restraint, Congressman, give the president today a little more capital to work with?
Yeah, I think in hindsight it did. I think, if anybody says that he's running cowboy diplomacy, as we just heard, I mean, all you have to do is look at the restraint on those attacks and people like me saying it was the time. And then the president did enforce his red line. I think, we'll tell if deterrence has been restored, but it certainly is going to make the Iranian regime think twice again about doing this. And again, we didn't kill 100 people operating a surface-to-air missile battery. We killed the guy himself in Iraq.
And I got to go, Congressman, but I want your thoughts. The missiles are raining down last night. You were thinking at the time, bad, very bad?
Yeah, look, it was, I've been under a base attack in Iraq, and this is obviously even bigger missiles. Obviously, a lot of prayer, a lot of thinking this was going to be bigger than it was. I think the intention of Iran may be different than what we think, but they failed in a number of ways, and I think hopefully this is the end and we can walk back from this Iranian escalation.
We shall see. Adam Kinzinger, Congressman, thank you so much.